No man can escape death. But one man tried, and for a time, he succeeded. This is the tale of Dorian and the terrible price he paid. Along the jagged cliffs of the Aegean Sea, where waves crashed like thunder against ancient stone, lived a man named Dorian, clever, ambitious, and dangerously curious. From childhood, he saw patterns others missed, the shift of winds before a storm, the truth hidden beneath a neighbor's smile, the exact moment a fisherman's luck would turn. The villagers respected him but kept their distance. Dorian often asked questions no one dared speak aloud. If the gods decide when we die, he would wonder, could a man not simply outsmart them? Old fishermen crossed themselves at his words. Priests muttered prayers, but far beyond mortal hearing, death listened. One bitter winter night, a storm battered the cliffs. A soft, polite, final knock sounded on Dorian's door. When he opened it, a tall, hooded figure stood there, its form shifting like smoke, its face hidden in darkness. Death's voice was smooth and echoing, like the whisper of distant waves. "Dorian, your hour has come." Dorian's heart pounded, but his mind seized upon an ancient tale. If a mortal dared, they could challenge death to a game of fate. Win, and death must grant them a boon, a season, a year, even a decade of life. Lose, and their soul would not pass to the afterlife, but be erased, bound in endless torment. Most would never risk such a fate. But Dorian was not most men. He dropped to one knee and spoke clearly. "Great death, I invoke the ancient law. Let us play a game of fate. If I win, grant me 10 years of life." Death's words cut through the air like a blade of ice. "And if you lose, mortal, do you truly understand the price?" Dorian replied, "I do." A hollow murmur rolled out from beneath Death's hood. "Then so be it." Dorian placed a wooden board between them, etched with a grid of 25 squares. "Peteia," he murmured, "the game of kings and philosophers. Pale stones for Dorian, black stones for death." The rules were deceptively simple. A piece was captured when 2 enemy stones surrounded it. Victory came when one side was completely trapped. The storm raged outside while inside, silence fell as the first move was made. Death's play was perfect, relentless, and inevitable. Dorian countered desperately, each move a heartbeat, every capture a soul claimed. As dawn crept through the window, Dorian saw a hidden pattern no mortal should have seen. With trembling fingers, he placed his final stone. Death's last piece was surrounded. The game was over. For a moment, silence. Then death dipped its hood in what might have been respect. The chamber trembled beneath death's roar, deep and unearthly. "Clever mortal. By the law that binds me, I grant you 10 years of life. When they are done, I will return, and no game will save you." Mist rose, and death was gone. Dorian sat trembling, staring at the empty board, a battlefield of pale and black stones. The storm outside had quieted, yet inside, his heart still raged. He had won, but at what cost? Death would return, and the clock of his life was already ticking. For now, though, the night was his. He rose on unsteady legs, stepping into a world that felt fragile and borrowed, a world where every breath was a gift he had stolen. And so, the years began to slip away. The 10 years passed like a dream. Dorian built a life he had never imagined. He married Lysandra, and together they had a son, Calus. Their home was filled with laughter by day, but by night Dorian counted the days until death's return. By the 7th year, fear gnawed at him. He began to travel in secret, seeking forbidden knowledge. Hermits in mountain caves whispered of the dead. Witches in dark forests traded secrets for blood and silver. Forgotten gods were begged for mercy at crumbling altars. "To bind death," one oracle rasped. "Carve its name in stone and seal it with the breath of the living." "Such magic," warned a witch, "is a blade with no hilt. Even if you hold it, you will bleed." Dorian paid every price. His hands grew scarred as he carved countless runes into the walls of a hidden cliffside temple. Lysandra noticed his absence and worry grew. She said, "You vanish for days. You hardly sleep." "What are you doing, Dorian?" Dorian, forcing a smile. "Protecting us. That's all you need to know." On Calus's 7th birthday, laughter filled the village, until a sudden chill fell. The sea stilled, torches flickered out. At the water's edge, death returned. The whisper came soft and cold, curling around Dorian's thoughts. "The 10 years are done. Your hour has come." Lysandra screamed, clutching Calus. Dorian bowed his head and said, "One last request. Let me say goodbye to my family. Then I will come willingly." After a moment, Death nodded. Death's voice was smooth and echoing, like the whisper of distant waves. 1 hour. Dorian kissed Calus's forehead, then whispered to Lysandra, "Stay here. No matter what happens, do not follow." Lysandra clutched Calus, tears glistening in her eyes as Dorian turned away. He stepped into the mist-shrouded night, his shadow stretching long across the cliffside path. Behind him, the sea roared and the wind howled, but he did not look back. Death followed in silence, its presence heavy, inevitable. At last they reached the hidden temple carved into the cliff. As they crossed the threshold, the runes along the walls pulsed faintly, awakening to Dorian's breath. Inside, the air crackled, the runes flared gold, chains of light erupted, binding death in place. Death's words cut through the air like a blade of ice. "You dare imprison me?" Dorian replied, "I dare to live." The temple shook with Death's fury. A hollow murmur rolled out from beneath Death's hood. "Fool. Without me, the world will rot." But Dorian turned and walked away, believing he had won. As unseen cracks began to spread through the world. At first, the world mistook silence for salvation. The mortally wounded gasped awake, disbelieving. Soldiers rose from battlefields, clutching torn flesh but refusing to fall. Families embraced loved ones they had already begun to mourn. For a moment, it seemed Dorian had saved them all. Even he almost believed it. But in his heart, he knew the truth. He had not destroyed death, only bound it, like a storm behind fragile walls. If those chains ever break, he vowed, I will be ready. The illusion unraveled slowly. The gravely wounded did not heal. They lingered, trapped in unending agony. The sick wasted away, unable to recover or die. The elderly aged into husks, their cloudy eyes staring blankly as their bodies refused to stop. Even the land began to decay. Crops rotted but never returned to the soil. Rivers slowed, their waters foul. Forests grew silent, as if holding their breath. Then the soulless appeared. At first only a few. A neighbor staring blankly, a soldier wandering aimlessly. Soon, more came. They wandered without purpose, a farmer pantomiming the planting of seeds, a mother rocking an unseen child, a soldier clutching a rusted blade with no enemy to fight. These were no longer people, but empty shells, proof that life without death was a curse. At night, the whispers swelled, countless trapped souls clawing at the walls of the world. Inside their home, fear turned to anger. Lysandra said, "You said you did this to save us, to protect Callus. But look outside, Dorian. The world is unraveling." Dorian replied, "I saved us. The balance will settle. It just needs time." Lysandra, furious, "No. You didn't do this for us. You did it because you're terrified of dying." The next morning, she packed quietly. With Callus by her side, she stood in the doorway. Lysandra, coldly, "I will not raise my son in this nightmare you've made." And she left, disappearing into the mist. Grief hollowed Dorian, then twisted into obsession. He aged like any man, each wrinkle a reminder that though he had caged death, he had not escaped it. Legends spoke of a relic older than the gods, the hourglass of time. Dorian swore he would find it, not to fix the world, but to save himself. Years passed. Dorian's hair grayed, his steps slowed. He crossed kingdoms and wastelands following scraps of myth until at last he found it. A temple buried in white desert sands, ancient and silent. At its center rested a golden hourglass, its sands glowing like captured starlight. A whisper rose from the stillness, turn forward to take, turn backward to return. Every grain must come from another. Dorian flipped the hourglass forward. Power surged through him. His back straightened, his hair darkened. He laughed, wild and victorious. But elsewhere, others screamed. Infants withered to dust. Elders collapsed into nothingness. Entire villages vanished in an instant. Because Dorian's heart had once belonged to Lysandra and Callus, their time was taken first. When he returned home, Lysandra was ancient, trembling. Callus lay broken and old before his time. Lysandra, sobbing, "You stole our lives for your cursed immortality." Dorian replied, "No, I came to save you." To save us. Lysandra, screaming, "You doomed us all, Dorian! You doomed the world for yourself!" Shadows gathered. The air turned cold. The chamber trembled beneath death's roar, deep and unearthly. You see now, mortal. Life and death are balance. Without one, all is consumed. Dorian fell to his knees, clutching the hourglass tightly. "Take me! Spare her! Spare the world!" A whisper slipped through the cold air, curling around Dorian's thoughts. "To heal what you have broken, you must turn the hourglass backward. Every stolen moment must be returned." The whisper grew softer, almost sorrowful. "But know this, when you turn it, the world will be as though you never lived among them. Your love, your marriage, Even the very memory of you will be erased, as if you never existed. Dorian's voice cracked. If I do this, will she live? Will the world be whole again? Death's tone softened, a distant echo like waves retreating into the night. Yes, but to her, you will be nothing, a shadow forgotten. Lysandra's hands trembled as she reached toward him, tears streaming down her face. Please, if you love me, set this right. Dorian looked at them one last time. Immortality means nothing without love, and love cannot exist without death. With shaking hands, he flipped the hourglass backward. The world convulsed. Rivers surged. Crops renewed. Whispers fell silent. Lysandra was restored, while Dorian faded into nothingness. She awoke alone in a world renewed, with no memory of the man who saved it. Once more, Dorian stood in his hut on that stormy night. A gentle knock sounded on the door. This time, he opened it calmly. Death's words cut through the air like a blade of ice. Your hour has come. Dorian, smiling. I am ready. He took Death's hand and stepped into the darkness. Life and death flowed again. Crops flourished. Rivers ran free. The whispers vanished. Lysandra awoke alone, the morning sun warm upon her face. She felt a strange sadness she could not explain, as if something precious had slipped through her fingers. And though no one remembered Dorian, sometimes, on misty nights, she dreamed of a man smiling through tears. The world moved on, unaware of the man who had once defied death and given everything to set it right. What would you have done in Dorian's place? Share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more timeless tales where myth and legend come alive.